Afternoon, family. It's a dreary day in New York. I think it's gonna rain this afternoon. I'm feeling a little, under the weather. Just took a chill in the park because I just finished running some errands and I needed to clear my thoughts because I had a rough night last night. Some severe attacks last night. I don't know if it felt like attacks, but it probably wasn't any attacks. It probably was solar flares, because we're going through a pole shift right now. But I just wanted to send some support and some love to my fellow TIs out there, that you're not alone. We're all in this together, and we need to support each other. Whether we agree with everything or not, we need to support each other and have each other's back, because clearly the government doesn't have our back. They have made the decision to turn their back on their own citizens. And how can a nation stand in that state when you declare war against your own nation? So us as TIs, we need to support and hold each other up, even when we disagree at times, because the devil is really busy out here. He's looking for souls. He knows his time is up in 3 years. 3 years, that'll be the 400 mark, for slavery in this country. 2019 will be 400 years of slavery in the United States of America. And the devil knows that upon that time, judgment will proceed forth against him. But also know, family, that for my Israelites out there, my Hebrew Israelite family, judgment begins at our house first, according to the scriptures. And we have not been living right. We have not been doing right. I'm sorrowful for all the things I've done. I've been seriously repenting and pleading the blood of the Lamb over my life every day. And all the things that I did and things that I do unconsciously, subconsciously. So if you're doing anything that is contrary to the scriptures, and if you don't believe in the scriptures, and you're a so-called African American, that's like saying you don't believe in yourself. I mean, be realistic, because the book was written, by our ancestors for us as a guide, because of what they were going through with this same system back in the day. It's not even about religion. It's about culture and, teachings and customs, godly principles. And our ancestors were persecuted for these principles, But if you believe in the scriptures, now is the time to start praying. Because the devil is prone to attack us more, because we are God's chosen remnant, more so than anybody else. And the fact that we are God's chosen remnant more than anyone else means that we're forgiven more than any other race, because God knows his people. He loves us. And he forgives us no matter what. The other races, they could be converted, but they are not natural born Hebrew Israelites. We have natural favor from God. And I'm not saying this to make any other race feel bad that watches my video. I'm just coming from a cultural perspective, because it seems to me that the African American, the so-called African American community, is being greatly affected by this shift in energy, the pole shift. and these electronic harassment weapons. I don't know if it's done intentionally. We're being affected by CERN. There's so many things going on in this world, you know, and us as black people are affected by it greatly. And it's always been that way. It's always been like that. When there was a catastrophe, believe it, melanated people were affected the most, just like with Hurricane Katrina. And some even say that that was a setup. That was done on purpose, you know, to wipe out our race. But what I wanted to say is that I don't want to get off topic. You know, I'm rambling because my thoughts are all over the place because I've been attacked all night. As you can see, I do not look like the glam squad today. I'm sweaty and I just finished running errands and I just came out to get a breather. I was hoping I could get some sunshine, you know, because that helps to cheer me up. But the whole purpose of this video is to encourage us to stick together, to love on one another, because no one else is. We have to love ourselves, and we have to love people where they're at. We have to love people where they're at this moment in time, whether we agree or disagree. We have to love and respect people where they're at. And I find that too common in today's society. People just have a lack of respect for the level that others are on. Now, if we can agree, that's great. But if we disagree, keep your comments to yourself. You know, if that, especially if the person that you disagree with wasn't disrespectful, you know, and didn't mean it maliciously, you don't have to badger them or degrade them or belittle them. You know, what we need to do is come together. We're receiving attacks already. We don't need to attack each other. And that's being 100. We don't need to attack each other. What we need to do is stop making these videos and come together. I'm in the New York area. So if any of you guys that are TIs that are in New York and you watch my video, hit me up on Google Plus or hit me up on YouTube. My email address is bquick, like B, the letter B, quick, QUICK 2405 at gmail.com. That's many of my email addresses. I have quite a few, but that's one of them. And we can get together, we can meet up, build a support network, you know, because YouTube is not getting us anywhere. We need to come together physically in numbers to get things done, you know, and then we can get bus tickets or whatever, or carpool if people drive, you know, to take this to Washington, D.C. with the proof that we have gathered over the years to prove that these programs and this harassment actually does exist. You know, something happened with me not too long ago. I made a video about it, but they deleted my videos. It was last year in November. I was being harassed. And I'm still being harassed, but it was more intense. It grew more intense last year in November of 2015. I was encountering a lot of harassment from the perps in my building. And I reacted childishly. And I started busting bottles on the girl. When I didn't bust bottles on her, but I was breaking glass because she's in the area where I could see her, and she lets me know blatantly that she's harassing me. So I did a very childish act, but I thank the Creator, the Most High, that I wasn't arrested or hospitalized, because deep down inside, these people knew that they were wrong for what they were doing to me. They called the cops on me. They tried to have me EDP'd. They took me to the emergency room. I saw the psych ER. They didn't even take me to the psych department, nor did they press charges and have me arrested. So deep down inside, they knew that I was conscious and aware of my surroundings and that I wasn't stupid, to their devices. And they didn't press charges or have me arrested. And since then, they haven't been really messing with me too much. But you know what? You got to use the spirit of conviction against these perps. Call them out. If they approach you on the street, don't get belligerent with them. That's what I'm learning not to do. Because me, I come right out my face. And I'm working on that. That's something I'm working on. See, the sun is coming out. When you speak truth, the sun will shine. But, that's what I'm working on. Learning how to control my temper, because I have a bad temper, especially when people are treating other people unjustly. I have a big problem with that. I'm a Libra, so it's some scales going on. There has to be some balance. But I wasn't arrested because I spoke truth. And 2, they came into my apartment illegally. And I recorded the whole incident. So they didn't know what I had in my possession. So they weren't going to take a chance with arresting me, and then I turn around and file a cross complaint against them and have them arrested for breaking and entering. You know what I'm saying? So, they I don't even think they did it so much on the strength of me. Why they didn't have me arrested or EDP on the strength of me so much. I think they did it to cover their own asses. But I say this, as a TI, don't keep silent. That's what they want. They want you to cower. They want you to live in fear. They want you to isolate yourself, not talk to anybody about what you're going through. And you can't do that. You're giving them the upper hand. Even if you have to yell, if you're being harassed to that extent, do that. Do it. Get it off your chest. Speak the truth to these punks, to these cowards. They hate that. They run from the truth, but they bother you when you cower out. When you cower. And when you live in fear and you don't speak up and stand up for yourself and confront them with the spirit of the Most High God, That's what we have the scriptures for. That is conviction. The devil flees when he hears the scriptures. Especially when you start pleading the blood of the Lamb over your life and your spirit and your body. And they can't take it. They leave. They're going to come back, but as long as you keep doing it, you won't have to fight as hard. If you keep, in the scriptures, you pray, you rebuke, you plead the blood. You won't have to fight this devil as hard. If you do it in the spirit. So we need to walk in love. And when we do that, we'll come together. Until then, I don't feel like anyone has the right to blast anyone, especially if you're not putting in the effort, to make a change or come together. So that's what we need to do. That's really all I wanted to say was, let's come together. Let's stop the talking on YouTube, because they're watching us anyway. They see that all we're doing is talking. It's time to move into action mode. And I'm willing to do that. If there are other TIs, we can't do it by ourselves. We already proved that, we're powerless by ourselves. When it comes to the system, we're not powerless by ourselves. No, we are the source. But when it comes to this beast system, who has all the power and runs every organization, community organization, government, department, whatever. We are powerless when it comes to that, and we need to come together in numbers with documentation to prove what we are saying, because the proof is what's going to shut everything down, y'all. The proof is going to shut everything down. And I have the proof. I had the proof. When those police officers broke into my apartment, I have written documentation from the NSA, the Department of Defense, to prove that these activities exist. Okay? And I told them. They didn't want to hear my case. They didn't want to accept my case. And I said, well, they closed my case before I could even submit the documentation. That's what they did. They closed my, I'm sorry, I'm going off. It's been one of those days, yeah. I didn't get any sleep. My eyes are puffy. But they closed my case. I went to the Civilian Complaint Review Board. I went to IAB, Internal Affairs Bureau. And I was in contact with the chief of police. And I knew that they weren't going to do nothing, really. Because they all work together. They all know about these covert activities. And they turn a blind eye to it because that's what they were commanded to do. But I just wanted to see if there was a righteous soul in that department, in those departments. And I see that there are none. The whole system is corrupt, y'all. Because they didn't even view, I gave them videos of the officers outside my door and the officers breaking in my apartment. They have it on video. See, that's the conviction in itself. It's been recorded here on earth and in the heavens. But I gave them videos. And then on top of that, I tried to submit paperwork. And they closed my case before I could even submit it. Guilty as charged. So I can't do it by myself. But I'm saying if we come together as a collective, we can get something done. They would have to hear us out and give us a platform. If we can't get one of our own, our voices will be too loud together for them to deny us. So we need to come together as a family of targeted individuals and speak up for ourselves, not only on YouTube, but to the whole world. In the street, when you go out, if you're being harassed and targeted, don't get belligerent. Don't go off because that's what they want. But just, if they come up on you and try to violate your personal space, you just let them know how you feel, and speak it with conviction. Because I do it all the time. I call them apostates all the time. Like, I'll use another apostate fool. Okay. But that's what we need to do, family. I'm not going to keep this video too long. I'm already almost 20 minutes in. I'm getting ready to go back inside my home. I'm not even my home. That place. I can't call it my home, When you're living under those type of conditions and being subjected to that type of behavior and activities, that is not a home. That is like a equivalent to a prison, So I guess you would say that where I reside is almost like a prison. I don't consider myself to be a prisoner. Only for the Most High, His will be done in my life. That's who I'm a prisoner to. But to man, I'm free, because I'm resisting the system, and I always will. And that's an open declaration. I don't have to submit to any satanic authority because I'm under the one and highest authority, okay? And that is the Most High's authority. So you let the devil know, put him in his place and rebuke him and tell him to get behind you. That's what you do. Rebuke him. Cast him down. That's what the power of the blood is for. Cast him down by the precious blood of the Lamb. Cast him down. Let him know you have no power here. You don't have authority over my life. I take authority over my life in the name of Christ. Cast that devil down. Every time he attacks you, I plead the blood of the Lamb over my life. It works. It works. I'm telling you. My attacks they're attacking me mainly when I'm sleeping, but during the day I don't feel it as much, because the power of the blood of the Lamb is effective, so do that, y'all. And I'm going to end this video on that note. Walk in love. Walk in love. Let's walk in love and let's walk together. We need each other. We do. We need each other. And stay positive. Stay positive. Stay full of light as much as you can in this world of darkness. You got to stay positive and stay full of light and stay encouraged. in this world, because we live in an evil day, you know, where the influence is heavy. They're influencing us on so many different levels, you know, and if you don't check your spirit, you will fall trap to it. So I just want to end that on that note. And I'm praying for you guys, and I wish you well. I hope you're doing well and to stay strong. And I'll be back soon with another video. I love you.